Hey everybody, I'm back for episode 6 of Relax and Have a Beer. Today I'm going to be talking about this thing called cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation is when somebody from one culture absorbs something from somebody else's culture into their culture, and they use it for normally what's a positive purpose. It's to reflect sharing, growth. A lot of times it's just recognition of, hey, this is cool. A lot of times when you hear about cultural appropriation, it's usually some outcry of, you can't use that, you're disrespecting our culture, you're shaming our culture, you don't deserve to use that because it's our culture. What they really mean is cultural misappropriation. I see the term being used a lot lately. And the reason I want to talk about it today is because I saw an article from, I believe it was Good Housekeeping, because Halloween's coming around the corner. And the article said, hey parents, you might not want to dress your kids up as Moana for Halloween. The thing that really got me is most kids get to choose their own costumes for Halloween. I'm going to get to more of that in a second. But the article goes on to state that if you let your kids be Moana for Halloween, then you're still a racist. Before everybody gets started on how I shouldn't talk about Polynesian culture because I'm white, I was born and raised in Hawaii. I spent a good part of my life there, and I grew up there a haole. And I gotta say that when I was going to school there, we were welcomed into their culture. We learned about it. We learned about the gods, the traditions. It was important for them to teach people in school, regardless of your color, the importance of their culture to them as a culture. And I thought it was pretty cool. I never once sat down and said, I don't need to learn this shit because I'm white. And I actually grew to love the culture. And like I said, I felt welcomed into it. Back to the part about kids. Most kids who hate another culture are taught to do so by their parents. They have an example. Most of the kids that I know, pretty much all the kids that I know, I can't think of one that is hateful. Don't hate somebody because of their culture or their race or their ethnicity or their religion or their sexual orientation. It's in fact quite the opposite. What I find most of the time is that children are very embracing of things, especially things that they like. I don't have a little girl, but if I did and she wanted to be Moana for Halloween, I'd let her. Because while the character in Moana may not be the most accurate portrayal of Polynesian culture, it's a positive one. And that's what people don't get. Kids love positivity. They love heroes. And they like good versus evil. They want to see that. And when your kid wants to be something positive for Halloween, something role modelish, something heroic, why would you let a cultural boundary stop that? If my kid wanted to be Hitler or Mussolini or Catherine the Great, I would of course say, fuck no, not under my roof. But Moana, go for it. A lot of people, when they think of cultural appropriation, like I said, what they mean is cultural misappropriation. What they think of is stereotypes. They think of trivializing somebody's culture. I'm going to give you some examples of things that we see on TV right now, today. You can go watch the stuff on TV that are examples of cultural appropriation. Fresh off the boat, Blackish, the Goldbergs, George Lopez shows in syndication. All of these shows have cultural stereotypes in them. Nobody's freaking out over it. They're funny as shit. Every single one of those shows is hilarious. They're making fun of a culture in some way, shape, or form. They're doing it in a positive way to make people laugh. And if you get butthurt over that stuff, then change the channel. Because stereotypes exist for a reason. I promise you that just about every Asian, Black, Jew, or Mexican who watches those shows thinks they're funny as shit. Stereotypes are not. For a reason. Because it's accurate and it's funny. It's fucking backcountry. Don't get me wrong. I can completely understand somebody who might want to be upset about somebody being disrespectful to their culture, about somebody trivializing their culture. That's cultural misappropriation. But I'm a firm believer in mimicry is the greatest form of flattery. If somebody wants to dress like somebody from another culture, 9 times out of 10 or more, they're doing it in a positive way. We've copied the Egyptians, the Africans, the Vikings, the Irish, the Japanese, the Mexicans. You name it. Somebody's copied it in a positive way. Because every culture out there, except for North Korea, has a positive role model somewhere. So why go out of your way to be offended and use the race card because somebody wants to be something that's a positive part of your culture? Like I said, mimicry, it's the greatest form of flattery. You should be happy that people are out there saying, you know what, this is fucking cool as shit, and I want to be that person. Do I think there are people out there who are culprits of misappropriation? Hell yeah, I do. But I'm going to tell you something special. Those people are assholes. So, what you should do to those assholes, those people who culturally misappropriate your culture, is this. Because I'll be damned if I'm going to look around and go, you can't celebrate this holiday because you're not one of us. And I get it. Some people are offended by cultural holidays. I'm not. It gives me an opportunity to learn, grow, understand, and experience something new about a different culture than my own. Would I like it if every day was St. Patty's Day? Fuck yeah, I would. Doesn't mean that I don't want to experience things like Oktoberfest, or that I'm not willing to understand the meaning behind Martin Luther King Day or Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, I really know what that means. Or any number of cultural holidays and festivities that we share in America, because we're a melting pot. But let's just play pretend for a minute and pretend that cultural appropriation was actually cultural misappropriation. And we decided that instead of embracing things that came from another culture, we would shun them and push them away. That would mean that 98% of the things that you use on a day-to-day basis will be things that you could no longer use because they were made in a different culture than yours. Things like math, medicine, language, baseball, Mexican food. You could never use those. Technology. We wouldn't be watching this video right now if it wasn't for somebody from some other culture than my own. So my point is, cultural appropriation, in its true, untwisted, unmolested form, is a positive thing. It takes the good things from one culture and puts them to use in another culture. It enables us to understand, to learn, to grow, and to ultimately become something better. Because we're taking something positive and we're adding it to our own shit. It could be negative, but we're making it better by culturally appropriating something that we didn't have in the first place. So in honor of cultural appropriation, today's beer is Lagunitas Nighttime. It's a black India Pale Ale. I don't know how much more culturally appropriated you can get than that. The reason why it's called black is because of its color based on its ingredients. The reason why it's called an India Pale Ale is because way long ago, they couldn't find a beer that was worthy enough, strong enough, if you will, to make the journey from England to India without spoiling. So they came up with a beer for their troops using different malts, mostly hops, making it stronger that would survive the journey from England to India. And they called it an India Pale Ale. A lot of people might think that's racist. Gotta call it an India Pale Ale because it's gotta be special to make it that far. I think it's a testament to good beer and a symbol of endurance. The endurance that it took to go explore new cultures. This beer is a seasonal beer from Lagunitas. If you're listening right now, I wish you made it all year round. It's a Cascadian bomb. It's malty. And it comes in at a fabulous price point. When it comes out around here locally, I spend about $5 for 22 ounces of a delicious 8.2% beer. Of all the black IPAs that I've tried, this ranks in the top 3. That's actually no small feat. It's got everything you would expect from a good IPA, with a really dark, sweet, coffee-ish, without the coffee, finish to it. It has just the right amount of bitterness on the end. So before you get mad at me for culturally appropriating my black East German Shepherd, relax and have a beer.